Hello, everyone. We are Business Briefing Group 14, and my name is Natalie Thomas. We are five members in this group. I am going to speak on the gender and leadership theory. Douah will focus on recent research on this topic. Shemire will explain understanding of gender leadership. Raju will present the key takeaway. And finally, Corenia will talk about our references. Today, we're examining a critical intersection in modern leadership, how gender shapes leadership, emergence, effectiveness, and organizational outcomes. This briefing synthesizes Northhouse Chapter 17, Gender and Leadership, framework and its three case studies, with current research to assess its relevance in today's diverse global workforce. Gender and leadership theory examines whether men and women lead differently and whether gender predicts leadership success. Northhouse framework reveals five critical insights. First, emergence. Men statistically emerge more frequently as leaders, not because they're more capable, but because masculine traits like assertiveness aligns with implement leadership phototypes. Second, style difference. Research shows minimum difference in actual leadership effectiveness between gender when we control for role types and organizational contents. Third, effectiveness. Present barriers from unconscious bias to family pressure create a systematic career path for women. Fourth, stereotypes, bias leaders, male, women face double binds. Fifth, barriers, implement barriers, family demands, glass ceiling, less mentorship.
Recent research from 2021 to 2026 provide important insight into the relationship between leader and gender relationship effectiveness. A study examined during COVID-19 indicated that female leaders were often associated with lower mortality rate and more effective recovery outcomes, suggesting the value of collaborative and transformational in leadership behavior. Research on confidence gap structure demonstrates that perceived difference in leadership effectiveness diminish when controlling from confidence rather than competence, highlighting the influence of gender socialization on leadership evaluation. Additionally, emerging study shows that remote work structure can reduce gender bias by shifting evaluation criteria toward measurable performance outcomes. Intersectional research expands on this discussion by revealing that leadership barriers are common for women of color and LGBTQ leaders. At the same time, the glass escalator phenomenon illustrates that men in female-dominated fields often experience accelerated advancement. Collectively, this body of research underscores that leadership disparities are shaped by less capability and more by structural, social, evaluative dynamics.
In the fourth slide, there will be an emphasis on interpreting gender and leadership from an understanding of Northhouse, as well as an examination of an actual example of gender and leadership in the context of Jacinda Ardern, who served as Prime Minister of New Zealand government. This will be an integration of theory and practice in terms of leadership and gender and how those factors impact opportunities from a global perspective. As Northhouse states, the case of gender and leadership is not based on whether a woman is able to lead, because it has been discovered that has always been proven through research. This is best exemplified through the leadership of Jacinda Ardern. However, despite the long period of political experience and recognition, the criticisms of population were centered on factors of age, beauty, and pregnancy. This may also be exemplified through the dual bind that has previously explained in reference to Northhouse, where female leaders are expected to demonstrate their competence as well as communal and relational factors. This can be demonstrated through the principles of transformational leadership, which have been effective in leadership situations with females leading in many situations. In today's workforce, the theory of gender and leadership is still applicable. Prejudice has gone underground, but it still affects the choice of leaders, their appraisals, and promotions. The case of Ardern also helps to support and reinforce the conclusions that is arrived at through the theory of leadership.
Research gives us 5 key takeaways that shape how we lead today. I will walk through each one briefly and connect it to today's workplace. First, gender matters because bias, stereotypes, and system will create real barriers to advancement. That means organizations must actively surface and remove structural obstacles to women and gender diverse leaders. Effective leadership is really about style situation fit, not gender. The same behavior can be seen as strong or too aggressive depending on who is doing it. So we need to evaluate leaders on how well their style fits the goals. Intersectionality demands that gender never operate alone. Race, ethnicity, and sexual orientation intersect with gender. Organizational culture is powerful because it shapes daily dynamics. It can either reinforce or reduce bias. Cultures that normalize inclusion, flexible work, and transparent criteria make it easier for underrepresented leaders to be seen as credible and authentic. Finally, an inclusive future requires frameworks beyond binary gender categories. As more employees identify outside traditional male female boxes, leadership models must recognize a wider range of identities and expressions, focusing on competence, ethics, and impacts rather than gender labels.
My name is Corenia Murphy, and I'm going to discuss some of the references that we have in our PowerPoint. So the first reference is research by Bloom, and in this reference, it shows that workplace structure, like remote work, can impact productivity and opportunity. And our next reference with Cross, it shows that there's a glass escalator effect where men in female-dominated fields are often promoted faster than women. And according to Ellen Rowe, 2024, and Sanchez, Huckles, and Davis, women, especially women of color, face ongoing barriers to leadership due to bias and structural inequality. Okay, and next we will talk about Northouse and Ling. They highlight how empowering and inclusive leadership improves performance and organizational success. Understanding these dynamics is key to building equitable leadership systems.